Are you looking to buy a home here in Delaware, more specifically Lewes, Delaware? And yes, it's pronounced Lewis, not lose. Well, never fear. That's exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to go over the pros and cons of living in Lewes, Delaware. And some of them may not be as obvious as you think. But what I can promise is after watching the video, you'll know whether or not the oldest beach town in Delaware, Lewes, Delaware, is the one for you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Windom. I'm a local realtor that helps people buy and sell homes here in Delaware. I've lived here my entire life, and on this channel I talk about what it's like living here in Delaware. And if you're potentially thinking about buying or selling a home here in Delaware, I love to have a conversation to see if it made sense for us to potentially work together. So I'll put my info on screen now and again in the description below. So Lewes is primarily a small beach town. It's actually the oldest beach town in Delaware. It's located in Sussex County, right along the eastern coast, and it has about a population of 3,500 residents. The first pro of Lewes is obviously the beach. It is a beach town, and I mean, what more could you ask for? Sun, sand, waves, water. That's pretty much what anyone needs to be happy, right? But one thing I will say that is an additional pro about the Lewes beaches is that most of them are located on the Delaware Bay. So that actually gives you a lot more opportunity for more water activities because it's a little bit calmer and you don't have to worry about the weird riptides and some of the rougher conditions that come, with being actually in the ocean. But something that I think not enough people talk about when it comes to Lewes is its actual parks as well, and just its abundance of, different parks and beaches. And Lewes actually has one of my go-to state parks, which is going to be Cape Henlopen State Park. And just to be completely honest, I prefer going there because they do have a little like beachfront, and I like it going there more just because it's usually less crowded. I don't have to worry about the parking. I know some people may not like this, but it's still kind of, I'm not gonna say a secret, but not as crowded as some of the main beaches are. So me, myself, when I'm just looking for, sun and sand, that's where I prefer to go in Lewes anyway. And they also have a Lewes canal front that has plenty of things there. It has a little park for the kids, and they're always holding like some type of new like events or activities out there, all the time. So the next pro is actually going to be the school system. If you do have children or are planning to have some children, school systems are going to be very important for you, and Lewes is home to the Cape Henlopen School District, which was actually rated number 2 overall in the entire state of Delaware according to niche.com, and it scored A+ in pretty much A's in all the categories. So it is a very good school district, especially public school district. Another pro is actually walkability. Now, Lewes itself is a pretty walkable town. I know if you watch any of my other videos, Delaware overall in general isn't very walkable, but especially in like the city of Lewes, it's pretty walkable. And for the most part, Lewes is kind of designed to be walkable since it is a beach town, especially in the city. There's a bunch of walking trails or bike trails, and I know I said our public transportation is lacking in most of the state, but specifically since the Delaware beaches in Lewes is a big tourist destination, they kind of put an emphasis on the public transportation in the area. So the public transportation is a lot better in the Lewes and beach area. That's another option if you don't want to get in your car, and they have like little shuttles that'll take you to certain places that are really nice, that make it a lot more walkable without having to actually own a car or get in your car to go drive somewhere. So another pro is that Lewes has a lot of full-time residents. So out of all the main like beach towns, Lewes tend to have the most full-time or year-round residents. And it's a plus for a couple of reasons. The first one is when the summer does, wind down, people will actually still be there. So you can have friends, and your friends will still be there after the summer is over. And same thing for a lot of the businesses and the services in the area as well. In some of those beach towns, what you tend to see is everything closes when the spring and summer is done. But that's not the case in Lewes. A lot of those businesses and activities and things like that stay open year-round because a lot of the residents of Lewes stay there year-round. And another perk that some people don't think about is that because chances are your neighbor's going to be there the whole year round, you don't really have to worry about some of the things that you would in some of the more resort beaches, such as like Airbnbs or, short-term rentals. So that being said, in some of those towns, if you're a full-time resident and your neighbor is, Airbnb in their house or doing a short-term rental, every week, every weekend, you could have, a different house guest guests there that maybe are unruly or having a party. I'm not saying that everyone is, but chances are if you have those rotating guests coming in and out, chances are one of them may not be the best neighbor or house guest. So that's one less headache you have to worry about while being in Lewes, it being, mostly full-time residents there. Another pro is that Lewes is always developing and growing. So just in general, the beach areas are Delaware's, precious little baby, its crown jewel. So a lot of effort is put in to keep it that way. That being said, from a state standpoint, they're always looking for ways to improve the area, and they're always looking to attract more businesses and experiences to the beach and Lewes area. So that being said, there are quite a bit of unique experiences that are, unique to the Lewes area that you can't find in other parts of the state. And because of all this growth and unique things to do, there's never a shortage of actual activities to do. I mean, whether we're talking about, something simple as just going to the beach or going to a trampoline park, going to hike, going to bike, brunch, mimosas, whatever it is, there's no shortage of things to do in the Lewes area. I mean, you got festivals, the list just goes on and on. And I mean, almost any day of the week, you can look around and chances are you're going to be able to find something that's new and or exciting to do while you're in Lewes. Now that you've heard the pros, let's hear the cons. Now, if you know me, can you guess what the first con is going to be? That's right, you guessed it, it's traffic. If you've seen any of my other content before, you know how I feel about traffic. It's actually funny, I was helping a client out a couple days ago, and I actually made a joke that I think that I may be half bull, because for some reason, whenever I see those red brake lights, it doesn't matter if it's heavy traffic or just a minor inconvenience, I get so frustrated and I just want to go outside the traffic. And frankly, it's pretty concerning why I get so frustrated. I don't know why. But just to be completely honest, during like the peak summer months, the traffic to the beaches sometimes can be downright just villainous and diabolical. I mean, depending on, the traffic, you could sit in the traffic, for an hour, 2 hours sometimes if there's something crazy going on. But one of the silver linings of being in Lewes is that it's the most north of the main beaches. So chances are if you are driving down one, you're going to hit Lewes first. So you're going to be able to get out of that traffic because you're already going to be at your destination. So you're not going to have to take it, further down into the Rehoboth and, Dewey and Bethany where the traffic gets even heavier. The second con is that Lewes is expensive. I mean, it's basically real estate 101. We all know that anything, if it's located on the water or by a main body of water, it's going to be more expensive typically. Unless it's like one of those ponds or water like from The Simpsons where that fish with the 3 eyes was swimming at. And Delaware is no different. Real estate in Lewes tends to be a lot more expensive. The sold median price as of June 2024 was $564,000. Now, just to give you a bit of perspective, the sold median price for the rest of Delaware in its entirety is only $390,000. So as you can see, it is quite the difference. But you know how the saying goes, you gotta pay if you wanna play. Now, another con of living in Lewes is gonna be the potential for storms and flooding. Now, this kind of goes without saying, the closer you get to beaches or water, the more risk you have of flooding and storms. Now, while thankfully they don't happen, hurricanes and things like that don't happen very often here in Delaware, thanks to our friends in New Jersey, because typically all the major storms we see, they tend to hit Jersey for some reason and miss us. But it's just something to keep in mind. Obviously we're closer to the water here in Lewes, so you're definitely, that's definitely a big concern that there may be flooding, and you do have that chance for potential hurricanes and everything like that. So it's definitely something you're going to want to keep an eye on and be aware of. Now, another con here is going to be the constant growth of Lewes. Now, usually while this is a good thing, you know how the saying goes, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing as well. With the overall popularity of Delaware and especially the beach areas, the demand for residential real estate and commercial real estate has just gone through the roof. There's been rapid growth in some of the natural areas that people who move to Lewes come to know and love are actually, slowly being dwindled down for, more residential real estate and more commercial real estate. So that smaller feel that people, you know, love about Lewes. It's slowly going away just because the demand for, you know, housing and essential services just keeps growing and they keep developing. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out as well. And if you like this video and you want to know more about Delaware, I actually made another video discussing Delaware right here.